who work for them. So when we be going about, because we building a lot of things that I don't want to say yet, but when we go about and we realize that we have all of the influence, Black Americans, specifically Black male Americans, are the most influential group in America. And I'm talking about over GDP. I'm talking about over spending power. I'm talking about over economics. But the thing is, and it's been reports done on this, and we've been knowing this, but now we know it for a statistical fact. It's just the people with the most influence have the least amount of money. Why is that? The reality of it is that's because you do not have the proper infrastructure. So there's a lot of talented people who work at these corporations, and they wish that they could make a difference, but shit, they can't leave because there's nobody to hire them. So what happens if you have a liquidity event? What happens if you get an infusion of capital, millions of dollars, and you're able to go and get the talent, plus you already have the influence, you can build the infrastructure. There's almost no goddamn business on this planet Earth that you can't compete with. But what happens is you get so powerful that you have an influence over the economy and politics in such a way, right, that you become unstoppable and everybody got to bow down to you. And this is specifically why they don't want to see Black men in power. It's the only group that they fear in power. I don't care about no other group. Shout out to my sisters, but they don't fear you all in power. They fear Black men in power. Because we are the most watched group on the planet Earth. There's literally, right, studies that show people watch Black male content longer than any other content out there on the internet. We capture the attention of the world. So imagine if you got the attention, you have the influence, you have the infrastructure, the resources, the network. You're an unstoppable machine naturally. You are the only group on this planet that they fear rising and realizing their own power. The only group. You are the last to come in power, but you are the first that were in power. And so when you are empowered and we empower each other in a simplistic way to empower each other, man, look, you got network skill set. Hold on. Not even just that. You have access to budget resources, right? And this is the game that's not really played on an infrastructure level because our frustrations only mean so much. But without the budget and the infrastructure and the connections, our frustrations will continue to be protests that do not have power behind it. So the goal for me now is, how do we connect the economics to the protests? And how do we give those who have the influence infrastructure so that they can create sustainable wealth building? 30% of students in 2019 said that they wanted to be YouTubers. That was before 2020. I'm sure the statistic probably around 50% because they see that they can utilize content as a career opportunity to make money. But we know that the CPM rates on YouTube is so low that, and the censorship on a lot of these platforms is so high that Black men can't even speak the way that they need to be themselves in order to create a sustainable living. We are the most censored group. And when you rise in position, of course, you become attacked. But here's the thing, that's why we and our influence, and this is what we have to understand as Black men, and specifically Black men and women. We are always trying to influence each other. We are always trying to influence each other, which I get. But our true power is influencing the world. Understand that. The true power is that we have the power to influence everybody. But a lot of times when you become the quote-unquote Black, the business or personality or talent or thing, sometimes your influence gets stuck in this sphere. Now, a white influencer do not mind influencing Black, Asian, or orange, whatever color. right? They don't mind having them on the platform. They don't mind taking the audience base. They do not mind. You think Joe Rogan only shares influence over whites? No, he has a large base of black people who watch him. Donald Trump don't just influence whites. He has a large base of black supporters who are going to vote for him. Biden don't just influence. So the influence sphere has to be outside of just your comfort circle. And once you intentionally target, we influence the world, but we're not intentional the way we go after. They are intentional in the way that they come at us. It's real. They say, okay, no, we need the black audience. They have biggest sellers, consumers, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what we're going to be doing, Shaka Bars. Connecting advertisers to these people so that they can make money. Because we can't get nowhere. We got to go through like a 10, 20 year phase. Like you feel me? To like 2044 of getting our values, our ethics, our morals, and our money together. We have to be strengthening, empowering, networking, communicating with each other. It's going to take a couple of decades before we're ready and in position to really lead ourselves. And a lot of that is educating and learning the game that's already here. Because there's already infrastructure in place that we can learn. And if we take that and we do it from our perspective, game over. So look, who is that? I think it was Megan Thee Stallion that signed a deal, but she signed a deal where she kept all her masters, right, and her publishing. The days of taking the Leo Conan 360 deals for a lot of black artists, specifically black American artists, and I want to say this because I want to get something to my African audience. And this is something that I want you all to understand. My African audience and the diaspora abroad, you have to understand that they're coming at you next. Yes, we live in a borderless world, right? But you all have such a power and an untapped, right, reservoir of the melanin. Because remember, melanin is the battery, right? So when they sell us, they're selling batteries, right? They're selling batteries. They're selling a battery pack that's going to energize everything. So the melanin battery, they going over to Africa to get that battery. They use the battery in America so much. Now these batteries become self-aware and want to empower themselves. And they like, wait a minute, y'all got to pay us more. Y'all want us to empower you. You want us to power up your film? You want us to power up your product? You want us to power up your music? You want us to power up your whole industry, right? So black people in America is like, nah, what the hell? We need to, why am I waiting for you if I'm the power? So people want better deals. People want to do partnerships. Long away from the days where people just happy signing, with a bunch of white folks around the table and they signing over their life. You feel me? And they just happy to get on. But shit, it ain't the same way across the pond. They can go over there to Africa and they can go poach talent and they gonna sign some of them 360 deals. Because they don't understand the game like we understand it. And they like, well, we not racist, this is our diversity. This is our equity, this is our inclusion. And black people have been playing so long, you've been fucking up hip hop so long that they music vibe for the culture is even better to sell to us. So they like, well, shit, it ain't the kill devil murder music, but it's a new product and we're gonna make a lot of money off of it. It's like a drug. They went from selling the crack, now they got a whole new drug over there in Africa, they about to sell the world. It's better for you too. They like, wait a minute. Organic. This is vibes. And we even like it better. Because we like, man, I'm tired of hearing the disruptive stabbing off the wound of my trauma triggering me to constantly be enamored by this. But here's the thing, and this is my warning to all my Africans out there, because I went to the YouTube music for the African artists and I seen it for myself. I'm happy for you all. I know what it's like. We know what it's like to be first generation, to a lot of us stepping out of poverty, right? First generation and getting an opportunity coming from nothing. So it's not like you have much of a leg to stand on to say no. Because yes, they're going to give you the loan to help you start the career, put the machine behind you, get you the looks. I just want you to really think about your future. Maybe for your first few years, you may be forced to have to take these type of deals. But I really want you to think long-term game. If you don't think long-term game, you will have the exact same problems that Black Americans have had, all right, in the music industry. And African artists 10 years from now, 20 years from now, is going to be complaining about how they took these terrible deals, but they the biggest stars in the world ever, and they're not getting their just due. I would like to see when they replace Black Americans and they go get somebody from the UK, they go get somebody from Africa to play roles of Black Americans. Do you think that they're paying these people more or less? Because it took me a while to figure this out. But I think the reality of it is that it's a money issue. If we get the Black American, they understand the power of this role, right? We're gonna have to pay them more. They getting cocky with it. They are already protesting the money. They talking about it everywhere. They got a whole financial movement going on. So they like, man, how about we go get somebody from the UK who normally don't get an opportunity like this, pay them whatever we want to, so we don't have to deal with these cocky Black Americans wanting their reparations. You have to understand that we at different points in time, and the devil just opened up the board, made it globally so he can exploit the globe as he's been doing, right? And this is why it looks like we're going against each other when we really not. It's not you that I'm going against. It's not my African brother. It's not the UK brothers. It's the system and how they exploiting the labor opportunities so they can pay somebody else less that looks like me, but it's not even in connecting to the story. And ain't nobody gonna speak on this. Nobody has spoke on this. Like I said, I've been thinking about this. It's been matriculating in my thought process for a while. I don't want to see my people get played. I don't want to see us in America, the African descendants of slaves, or those who are indigenous to this land, Native American, copper-colored, melanated people, whatever the background is, but Moorish American, I don't want to see nobody get played. I want to see everybody get their just due. Because I don't want to build a future where we steady trying to unwrite the past. I want to be able to focus forward on the future, because we are also in a great time of technological and scientific advancement, and we should be able to be comfortable enough to focus on that to build out better civilizations. But these conversations have to be had, and I'm going to be having a lot of these larger conversations because we're going to be announcing something for the diaspora very soon, inshallah, and we need this.